Well, well, well. After days of refreshing my Twitter page, hoping to see Kyle Dubas to Pittsburgh, it finally happened. Kyle Dubas is coming to the Penguins, but not exactly as expected. He's not the general manager, he's the new president of hockey operations, and I think this is a perfect fit. Obviously, the way things unfolded in Toronto got a bit messy in the end, as it seems pretty evident that there was a power struggle going on where Dubas was seemingly looking for more control. But without getting into all that, I think over in Pittsburgh, this makes complete sense. Pittsburgh is coming off an upset season where they missed the playoffs for the first time in 17 years. This despite being able to keep the core together in Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. And while you can technically say that that was Hextall's doing, you know both Letang and Malkin had very little desire to leave Pittsburgh when he signed them. All Hextall had to do was not screw it up, which he almost did. What he definitely did screw up was filling in the missing pieces around the core with some horrendous decisions over his tenure. And so with not only Hextall getting fired but also Burke, this left a wide open hole in Pittsburgh that fits Dubas to a T, and here's why.
We're going to be moving anyway now. So our kids are going to be 6 and 2. Shannon's view was if we're going to move, we may as well move now before the kids are too entrenched.
He clearly values his family, and being president of hockey operations is a role he could fit in Pittsburgh for a very long time to come. It is typically a much more stable position than general manager, and that job security of knowing you're not going to have to move anytime soon likely played a large role in his decision. So by getting a promotion, he gets the power he wanted in Toronto in Pittsburgh, and he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who would just play president of hockey ops and sit back without involving himself in the GM duties. I think what we could see here will be more of a hybrid position where he is very much involved in the GM side of things as well. And so while it made sense for him, it made a lot of sense for Pittsburgh. He's attractive for many reasons. During his time in Toronto as GM, he had in 5 years become one of the most successful GMs in Toronto's history with a .641 win percentage. Pretty impressive. With that said, Pittsburgh knew that they presented a fair share of challenges. Yes, he gets a core that's already signed, but filling in the missing pieces will be hard when working with a very tight cap of about $20 million while having just 15 players under contract. That with very few assets to play with, as he is also anchored to some brutal contracts in Carter, Petrie, and Granlund. And that is exactly why Pittsburgh wanted Dubas. He's got some experience with this. Despite a tight cap in Toronto, he was able to bring in key guys at the deadline repeatedly. Most recently, guys like Ryan O'Reilly and Achari. And I know they didn't have great success in the playoffs, but I don't fault him for this, as he put together a great team in Toronto, at least on paper. And with just one first-round pick since 2018 in Toronto, Dubas also did a pretty solid job of putting together a good prospect pool with little to work with, most notably drafting Matthew Nye. And lastly, there are similarities in goaltending as well. He let Campbell go in free agency in what was criticized at the time, but now look at how well that turned out. Campbell hasn't been great in Toronto to say the least, and Samsonov did great filling in that role. He's got a similar situation in Pittsburgh with Tristan Jarry. And so yeah, overall, FSG was looking for young, competitive, and analytical management, and that is exactly what they got in Dubas. It's a perfect fit if you ask me, and they've given him the keys to the organization as a result, so he'll be able to fill out the rest of the roles as he sees fit. I'm personally very excited to see what comes of this, but you guys let me know. Will Kyle Dubas be a good fit in Pittsburgh? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.